Hello and welcome to another episode of the Full Force Weekly, brought to you by Generals Joe's Reborn.com with me, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostik80. For today's episode, I'm joined by the awesome Patrick Notpicard Stewart, spins around in his chair, and Justin Generals Joe's Bell pulls his hoodie up and does a ninja maneuver. In this regular video series, we round up all the week's news in the world of G.I. Joe, Full Force Weekly, although this week I'm probably going to be calling it G.I. Joe Classified Weekly, because that is literally all the news this week. It's been kind of bonkers, hasn't it, lads?
Yeah, it has been a little bit. I mean, the kind of the aftermath of that Fan Fest thing, there's been kind of a lot of classified news and not so much other news in comparison.
And huge reactions I've seen to what little morsels we've had of news. There's been a lot. The community's has definitely reacted.
Yes, they are engaged.
Yes, that is probably the biggest understatement in the history of the universe. Much like the hyperbole behind that sentence I just read out. In any case, let's get stuck in then, shall we? And that first news story in classified news. So, Hasbro sent out an email on Thursday to let the Pulse Premium members know about a restock of the Target exclusives, or from now on I think I'm going to call them either the store that should not be named or the Voldemort exclusives. Firefly and Viper on the partner exclusive section of the site. I, like many of the members, received the email at 12:15 PM and the figures had already been up from noon and basically sold out in 10 minutes. So as good as it was to see more stock of these hit the internet, it was also a bit disheartening that a large group of fans didn't even get a chance to really buy them. The internet reacted as you would expect, and hopefully we will get more opportunities to get these figures in the coming months, especially as Hasbro will have a few announcements regarding these Target exclusives during Yojo June. Lads, were you able to pounce on either of these, or had they gone before you realised they were there?
Yeah, they were long gone before I had any chance of getting them. I saw the email, I don't even remember when, but I immediately, of course, clicked over to the Pulse, and they were, who knows when they'd been sold out. They were sold out long before I got there. How about you, Pat?
Same thing. I actually saw a little bit of conversation from you guys that they were up, and it was probably about 5 hours after they were up that I actually saw anything. So I saw that they were up. I rushed over there myself and it was like, oh, they're sold out. And then I got to enjoy the conversation that was about 4 hours old of you guys being disappointed that they were so.
So I got that email at 12:15. I checked the time, and I know quite a lot of other people got it at 12:15, but apparently they were live at noon. And so people that had been like, they either got maybe the email before, because email's funny, innit? Like, yeah. I've sent emails before and it takes like ages for the other person to get it sometimes, even if like you're both like live chatting with each other and you know that email's gone out. So I can understand that that's not probably the best way to announce these things a lot of the time. I think social media is probably the best way to get that information out there, isn't it? Like, make a post on Facebook or Twitter and people are going to see it instantly. But lo and behold, that comes up at 12:15. I just saw Firefly was in stock and I thought, oh great, I've got time. So I click over to see if the Viper's in stock, because I thought I wouldn't mind another Viper, one per customer and all that. Gone. I'm like, oh, that's a shame. I better go back to Firefly, which again I already have, and I probably wasn't going to buy him anyway, but I went back just to see if he was still there. Sold out as well. It was just so quick. And again, like, it's a shame, but I mean, Hasbro would like this opportunity for partner exclusives on Hasbro Pulse was never. I mean, we discussed it, didn't we, Justin? About it was never going to be like the option that we would be able to get like loads and loads of figures from this particular corner of Hasbro Pulse.
Right. And, it's funny. It's a double-edged sword because, I'm glad they're doing something to try to make these more available. On the other hand, it almost causes more harm than good because it just refreshes in everybody's mind how impossible these things are to get. And although they may have forgotten about not being able to get the Viper, 3 months ago, now they're reminded again, oh yeah, here's another figure I can't get, thanks Hasbro or whatever. And the fact that, I'm I'm not always a big fan of kind of a class system in collectors, like people who spend this much get these perks. But I mean, Pulse Premium members who do spend $50 a year to be Pulse Premium members, and basically the perk it got us was watching it sell out before everybody else could watch it sell out. It's like, what's that all about? So, it was disappointing. I almost wish they would just not do this unless they know they've got some sort of supply to satisfy. At least, you're never going to satisfy anybody unless they run a, 5,000 quantity, which they're probably not going to do. At least have some stock on hand, so it's not going to sell out in 8 seconds. That way at least some folks have the feeling that, okay, there are more of these coming, or they're out there. They're at least somewhat accessible. But all this did was kind of fan the flames of collector annoyance. So I'm not really sure what the purpose was.
It didn't really bother me too much because I have these figures, so, well, great, right. Yay for me. I know a lot of people are going, well, thanks, mate. But and I understand that, but it didn't bother me as much when I saw the kind of response. It was like, because just before this, we'll get to the next news item soon, but there was obviously another news item that kind of, I don't know, really stoked this fire, this angry fire in the fandom. But I don't know. You're right. It's a double-edged sword. It's like, great, they're trying to get them out, for a bigger market. But it's like they were gone in 60 seconds. It was crazy.
I have to wonder how many of them they actually had, because if there was a decent enough,
not many.
Sure, but I kind of wonder if it was enough to like test the market for them at all, because the Firefly figure on eBay, I saw him down as low as roughly around $30. Once they hit around $30 on eBay, I have to rationalize at least a little bit. That's the cost of them plus shipping. So he's kind of gone down to some degree in the secondary market.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have necessarily expected him to have sold out that fast. I would think that maybe at least a few hours for Firefly would have been bought from, reflected from some of the secondary market prices. But also, I haven't really been watching that closely to eBay with Firefly since I do have one myself. But
you're welcome, Pat, by the way.
Maybe there were enough of these. What?
You're welcome, by the way.
Yes, thank you very much.
I noticed I didn't get a shout out on the 3 weeklies ago when I sent you those figures. How dare you?
Well, I'll make sure that I do give you a shout out. I didn't want to.
I've just been waiting for a moment to bring it up, and that was the perfect moment. So it's like, I've got a Firefly. Yeah, you do, thanks to me. I'm kidding, but carry on.
There's time for shout out later. I didn't want to I didn't just want to say that, in case you didn't want me to tell them.
I'm so horrible.
I know he didn't send me a Firefly, and I'm a little butthurt over here, Pat. I had to get mine I got mine from the same person who sent Chris one of his. So
Justin, you have to send me figures. Like you sent me Zartan.
You pay Pat to be on this show. I have to pay you. Okay,
exactly.
I see how it is.
Anyway, there were enough Fireflies that this, and Vipers, of course, but Firefly seems like he for sure shouldn't have sold. Like, I think they could supply, another 20,000 Vipers and they would sell out fast.
Yes.
Firefly, I'm hoping that there was enough of a quantity of him that it gave them a little bit of a test to show them, hey, maybe you should make more of these. That's what I felt that from the beginning, that all these Target exclusives, that they are just selling out so ridiculously fast that we just need more of them.
Yeah.
Agreed. There's so many factors involved, isn't there? And obviously there's that thing of like making your bed, especially with and sleeping in it, making your bed and sleeping it, kind of like in the toy industry where things take a good amount of time before you can actually gauge what they're going to sell for. Like you've already done a lot of the pre-production, the manufacturing and all that kind of stuff, and you're almost onto the next thing before that comes out. And especially in this, this climate, it just seems really, I don't know, I feel really, I don't feel right criticizing as hard as the fandom have all these companies that are kind of in a similar situation. Obviously Hasbro are a multi-billion-dollar company, they are pretty big, but they have been affected by COVID way more than I think any of the fandom realize. And I know it's not like, oh, poor Hasbro and everything, but you don't have to feel that way, obviously. But I just think, I personally feel like there's like almost like a reluctance to go, you know, it's all your fault, you should be doing things better and all this kind of stuff. Especially when you know like some of the inner workings that go on, and you know how long this stuff takes to create and make. You know, there's a lot of indies out there that are struggling to get a small toy line out there. You know, like, you know, one-man bands, small toy companies that really, like, you know, to the detriment of their mental health, their bank balances, everything, to get some sort of product out there is an absolute mission. And yes, again, like Hasbro have got way more resources, probably got more priorities in the factories, you know, that are out there. But still, like, this is not just a thing. It's not the press the design button, press the manufacture button, press the that. It's not that simple. And I just want to. I personally will always be reluctant to kind of dive straight in until there is a clear, you know, like we've gone like 3 or 4 years down the line and we're still having the same conversations. But anyway, by the by, should we move on to the next news item?
Well, I do want to add just a little bit to that, Chris, because I mean, in this particular situation, it's really a no-win situation because the fans get penalized because they can't get the figures they want. Hasbro gets penalized because everybody hates them and throws fire at them. But I think what folks have to realize is that, you know, changing direction on the production of a toy line by a global corporation like Hasbro, it's like steering an aircraft carrier. It takes time. So even if they realized, like, say, in June, that they greatly underestimated demand and they need more product, it's not going to happen in, you know, 7-8 months. I mean, it's going to take time for them to ratchet things back up and get that production, you know, revved up. So even though it was proven, you know, mid to late last year that G.I. Joe Classified was clearly more successful than they anticipated, and they've been pretty transparent that they underestimated demand out of the gate. I think that's been pretty clear.
Yeah.
I mean, Hasbro wants to sell these things. They want to make their money, and Target does too. So I think it's just a matter of the fact that, you know, once they realized that there was so much more of a demand that they could not supply, and they're trying to fix that, but it's not a light switch. You don't just say in June, oh, we need to make more, flip the switch, and in August, all of a sudden you got more product. That's not how it works, unfortunately. I mean, toy production is a very lengthy process. So I think, you know, I do feel some confidence that they are going to, you know, attempt to turn things around, and I think we'll find out more in June. That would be about a year from the point last June where we were kind of realizing that there was some legs behind this G.I. Joe Classified line, and perhaps that Hasbro had missed the boat a little bit on estimating how popular it would be.
No pun intended.
Exactly. Yeah. Missed a bunch of boats.
Missed the shipping boat. Yeah.
So I think things will get better. And while Hasbro does deserve some lion's share of, I hate to say blame, but
I'm not gonna say they don't. Obviously,
exactly.
I'm saying I'm reluctant to dive in on the hate wagon.
Totally agree. I mean, this Target exclusive situation is a disaster. Speaking as somebody who has bought, you know, I've bought Cobra Vipers from eBay, overpaid. That's why I have them. I've seen people online saying, well, you get special privileges. Yeah, my special privilege was I was okay paying 3 figures for a Viper on eBay. That was my special privilege. I know not everybody's in a situation where they can do that, but I did that. I chose to do that. I sucked it up, and that's the only reason I have a Cobra Viper. So I feel you. I don't have a special backdoor to Hasbro that just supplies me with whatever product I want.
Same. Can I just add? Same. The first thing I ever got off them was that FanFest mailer box, which is amazing, and I was very, very, you know, happy to get it. But I think people think we've got these like hookups. Right. It's like it doesn't work like that. Just because I've got like a little in order to kind of, you know, set interviews up and stuff does not mean I have like a backdoor to get action figures, which is not the case. I'm getting them off like people that are going out to the stores and finding
friends
them.
Who are helping out with them. Yeah, friends that, I mean, I had a friend that got me the Cobra Trooper, friend that got me Firefly, you know, friend that got me Beachhead and Roadblock from Baroness from the last wave.
Pat's got a friend that got him a couple of things as well that he won't talk about or acknowledge.
Yeah, I think he's a little ungrateful, to be honest with you, but I mean, I don't want to throw stones.
I'm kidding as well.
I don't know who it was, though. That's why I didn't.
Yeah, some douche. And
I was like, who's this from? It threw the box away. I didn't even look at the return address.
just like ripped it open. Hey, cool, free Firefly.
Amazing. Yeah, no, I totally agree with all of what you said. And again, like we're not also, I don't want to kind of come across like, hey, you guys shouldn't be angry. You shouldn't like be upset about this stuff.
I mean, everybody's got
exactly,
right to be.
You know, I just, you know, it burns a little bit when some of the comments are like, you know, like aimed at kind of us or at me. Yeah. And I kind of think, well, what the fuck have I done? Just because I'm like enjoying product that is out there. You know, like I try to be very, you know, transparent, very kind of open with that kind of stuff as well. But like, I want to enjoy this hobby. I don't want to be angry and mad all the time. Like, and you know, and if there is an element, and you know, I'm still waiting on Flint and Jay. They're out there. I'm not going to see them till June or July or whatever. I wouldn't have seen Zartan or Infantry had it not been for Justin Bell sending me Zartan and my mate Nick in the UK. In the UK, he's getting the product. He's got Cobra Island. He's got, you know, friggin' figures. He's sending me this stuff, and I'm like getting it before any opportunity to get it in the US. So it is a problem. It's bonkers. It's a little bit skew whiff all over the place. I understand that. And I just hope other people can understand that, you know, I do want to enjoy this at some point. I don't want to just be, you know, like we are at the moment. Anyway, let's move on to the next, because we've got loads to discuss in the next one.
Oh, yeah.
In more classified news, yep, we got a massive leak/reveal on Tuesday of the brand new Voldemort exclusive Cobra Island Special Missions Major Blood, courtesy of an eBay listing. A number of images accompanied the post, showing the figure in all of his brown and black glory, complete with his classic accessories and more beautiful bespoke card art. The fandom reacted quite negatively to the eBay listing, to say the very least, and what resulted can only be described as a complete digital nervous breakdown, as a number of bidders skyrocketed the figure to a whopping $40,000 at one point. The listing has since been removed, I believe, due to the debacle, but following that, the FWOOSH posted an in-hand video review of the figure, and boy, does he look outstanding. That's Major Blood, by the way, not Robbo, but Robbo, you do look outstanding as well. We were also informed that the street date for the figure is May 18th, so good luck is all I'm saying about that. Guys, internet drama aside, let's focus on the positives here. What did you think of that Major Blood figure, starting with Pat?
I'm probably the thing that I was most excited about was to see that the Mars logo is still on the arm.
Oh, so you mentioned that. I'll just mention one more thing. Another video review has popped up, right? The logo isn't on it.
Oh, really?
So I don't know what's going on there, whether there's like a sample version or, you know, like maybe, I don't know how the FWOOSH actually got that figure with the logo on the arm, but another review is out there and it doesn't have the logo, and I don't know which one like is the, you know, the actual final production.
Where are they getting
figure.
These figures from? That's another question. But
who knows? I mean, maybe I don't know. So that's all I can say about that, is I don't really know the ins and outs of that, but I do know there's another review out there, and it is legit because it's the same thing. It just no logo. But I just wanted to mention that while you mentioned it.
Hopefully it's just missing that, because that was one of the things I thought was pretty cool.
Same.
I mean, Major Blood, I've always kind of liked it to be a little bit arguable over whether that right arm is robotic or if it's just armor for his rocket launching weapon. And they went with a robotic one, which I think works pretty well with the classified series. Some of the color of it, I kind of liked the art where it had the red, I don't want to say eye, but it was implying almost that he had a robotic eye instead of an eye patch. And that's gone, but I kind of think it still has that little bit of heightened sci-fi feel with the robotic arm. And I thought that it was cool that if it's going to be a robotic arm, that Destro would have supplied it.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why I thought that the Mars logo was interesting. And the Mars logo, as I recall, was also removed from Destro's briefcase. Is that right?
I believe so. It was a Cobra sigil now.
Yeah, I kind of thought that those two things were something that I kind of liked seeing that. So hopefully I can still get one. Who knows? Maybe it's a fraction of the run, or I guess we'll see.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing, isn't it? We are dealing at the moment in a very early non-official kind of scenario, so it's difficult to know exactly what to expect. I will pose some questions to people in the know, but I don't expect to get any answers until the official reveals come out. So, again, I can pose those questions, but I don't know if I can get the confirmation on that just yet. But it's interesting to me because I do love that new logo. I think what Lenny did with that design, with the kind of like almost like the kind of the shape of Mars, like almost like a sliver of it behind the M, is a really cool way of doing that logo, and it just looks really cool on all of the Dio shots and everything. So I really hope it's on the arm. It's on that FWOOSH one, which if I was a betting man, I would probably bet that possibly it was provided officially, and just I just don't know. It's so difficult to realize, to get to the bottom of it all. But we just know that he's coming, and he looks bloody awesome, doesn't he, Justin?
Oh man, he looks spectacular. I mean, the whole reveal is so strange. I mean, we just had a big day-long Hasbro Fan Fest, 3 weeks ago, and with no mention. We all kind of expected Major Blood to make a showing there, but there was no mention of him at all. But obviously, they were focused on the movie for that particular presentation. But just the fact that people are actually getting samples in hand before we've even seen official pictures from Hasbro is really bizarre.
Yeah.
But from what I watched that FWOOSH review, and the figure looks spectacular. It's the figure construction is like the Cobra Trooper. It's got the same parts kind of beneath the covers. It's got different shin guards, I think.
Wouldn't know it though, would you? You wouldn't know it at all.
That's the beautiful
the
thing
boots
about
as well, like the little feet, really cool, like touches like that.
They've found a great way to take advantage of existing tooling, yet still layer kind of additional secondaries on top of it that really blend perfectly at this increased scale. It's like the same philosophy they used for the 25th anniversary, only the kind of the strides forward in technology and sculpting and design or whatever is just allowed them to make it look like wholly different figures, even while we're using so much tooling. But Blood is just, he really perfectly encapsulates kind of what I like about the kind of era of G.I. Joe that I really love. Similar to how Sigma 6 was kind of a 15 minutes in the future sort of feel. I really get that impression from Major Blood too, with the cybernetic parts and the robotic eye. I love the facial scarring on his face. I think I've mentioned before his armor is very reminiscent of the Sideshow 12-inch version of Major Blood, which is one of the few Sideshow figures that I have because I love it so much.
Yeah, it's a beauty.
I really like kind of that semi-futuristic revolver that he comes with. I think if they are going to stray away from super realistic looking weapons, that's a great way to do it.
It's like half and half, isn't it? It's like the back end is like a classic pistol, and the front end is like that kind of flat square kind of Nerf.
Exactly.
Kind of,
they did a great job, and of course the backpack with the removable rockets and then the rocket gun. It's just soup to nuts. The figure just looks beautiful, which I think is compounding collector frustrations about its availability.
I think that's a really good point, isn't it? It's like there's a real people love these figures and they think they look great and they want them, and that's fueling some of this fire. It's like, I want it and can't get it. It's like,
if anything, kind of the fury that we see over this is only a testament to how great the line is, because people are so angry that they can't get their hands on these fantastic looking figures. They are just, unleashing hate, which is unfortunate, but I think it really speaks to how nice these figures are designed and sculpted and produced, and how much everybody loves them. They're just so furious they can't get them. Because they want them so badly, which is a good thing, but it's not good that they can't get their hands on them, especially when it comes to somebody like Major Blood, which is one of the shining stars of the line so far, no doubt. And the fact that it's kind of paywalled behind a Target exclusive situation, I'm really hoping that we do get some sort of confirmation in June that those will be easier to find, because I'll say it right here. If I have to go on eBay and, I'm not going to spend $40,000, but if I have to go on eBay and spend over retail, I'll probably end up doing that. I've kind of accepted that as a possibility, and I know not everybody does accept that, which is fine. I understand that too.
Don't worry, Pat. I'll probably send you it. Don't worry, mate.
He'll send you 3 or 4 of them. Just don't thank him.
He already did, actually. He just told me not.
I sent him one with a logo and one without a logo. I've got like stacks of them in here.
Yeah, I think that we could even back up though and say that not only would it be nice for these to be able to be found at retail, but it would be even nicer if the pre-order process was much better than the previous Cobra Island figures.
Yes.
Didn't have that section on Hasbro Pulse handling some of the store exclusives at all whenever those pre-orders went up before. So I'm really curious to see how the pre-orders for Major Blood work, because I was surprised to see that the last wave of Transformers Walmart exclusives actually went up on Pulse prior to them being on the Walmart website.
Yeah.
Walmart never seems to have their time of when things are supposed to be up, down. Like, they announced them, and then some of that stuff just didn't show up. But somebody mentioned, oh, it's on Pulse already. So I went over to Hasbro Pulse. I pre-ordered mine. Mine are, I feel, are secured, and I'm safe. So hopefully they've worked out something similar with Target, that whenever the pre-orders go up, we won't be dealing with the bots like we were last time. That's my big hope.
Well, there was a little sign of hope, I thought, after the Hasbro Fan Fest. There was a Power Rangers Target exclusive that I think went up for pre-order on Hasbro Pulse as well, and it was actually available for a considerable amount of time. I mean, granted, I'm not sure it's kind of weird for me to say Power Rangers doesn't have the kind of collector strength as G.I. Joe, because I think that's probably not true of Power Rangers.
It's only been going
much
forever.
Bigger, more powerful brand. But I'm not sure their Lightning series, I don't know how that compares to Classified. Maybe it's more of a how much product there is rather than popularity. But yeah, that seemed to last for a few hours and really gave almost everybody the opportunity to get a pre-order in, which gave me a little hope that maybe there is some light at the end of the tunnel and we might see something similar happen with G.I. Joe product, which would be great. That'd be fantastic.
God, I really hope so. And I'm a shout out to the Lightning collection, because I haven't really had much experience with it, but when I got the one from in the mailer, like, they are gorgeous figures.
Gorgeous figures, yeah.
Really gorgeous, well made, yeah, awesome. Speaking about blood again, one thing I noticed on the articulation, that obviously there was not necessarily issues with Firefly, but you know where he's got that kind of piece on the secondary that kind of hangs over the shoulder. Yeah. It looks like on Major Blood they've developed something which is on like a hinge, so it kind of can move and it doesn't get in the way of the articulation of that arm, which is pretty awesome in terms of, getting that aesthetic across with a big shoulder pad, but then also finding a way to kind of make it so that it doesn't get in the way of the articulation. So they're kind of making moves within this figure already to kind of like develop that line, the improvements developing in that classified line.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if it's something that kind of pops on, that just sort of pinches over like some spot on the arm like we've seen in the past. That definitely was a good move. Something else I noticed about the figure that touches upon what Justin was saying is that the Cobra Trooper element of Major Blood, that even goes back to the original figure, because if you look at the helmet of the original sculpt for Major Blood, it's the same as the Cobra Trooper's helmet sculpt.
Nice, yeah.
Definitely a good choice that they matched that.
Little cheeky design homage there.
For sure. I think that's intentional and it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And then I like the addition of his gun, because once he fires off his rockets, what else does he have? So it's
poetry.
Actually added in that other accessory.
You can rhyme at them. In fact, shouldn't there be some sort of there should be some sort of rap battle between Blood and Roadblock, really? I think that should happen at some point.
It's a good point.
Sunbow rap battle.
Rap Viper in there as well for work.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll make the beat. Bergs can do all of that jazz. Right. I mean, I think it looks amazing. I'm really excited for this figure. You guys have said most of it already. I think like the head sculpt's gorgeous, the build's the secondary's really cool. Although there was when Robbo from the FWOOSH was talking about the actual secondary itself, he said it does ride up a bit and you tend to kind of have to keep pulling it down a touch. But it didn't look that bad when it was ridden up. Like, it didn't look like ridiculous or stupid or in the way or something. So I think that looks kind of cool. Quite interesting that they went with like almost like a big lump piece for the dog tags that kind of lock into the neck of the secondary as well. That was quite an interesting design choice. I wonder if, just having it like in there permanently I'm not sure which one I'd prefer, honestly, but I guess the option of having it to removable is good.
It's a tough call. I mean, I know one thing I really loved about Sigma 6 is they had actual chain dog tags, which, I mean, granted, they're a little bit bigger at an 8-inch scale, but I would have thought that could have been a neat addition. But who knows what that would have meant from a cost perspective.
Yeah,
totally. And they may also want those to be removable so that they can use that armor for a different character.
Ooh, cheeky Pat move there. Cheeky Pat design move. Yeah, totally. So all in all, happy with this figure. Not as keen on the explosion on the internet for the reactions based on that kind of stuff. But you're not going to control that, so it doesn't matter, does it? I just hope to the heavens that he is far more easier to obtain than previous figures. Let's put the positive energy out there, because I need that thing. That it looks amazing. And another great addition to the classified line. And actually staying on classified, because that's all the weekly is this week. In even more classified news, a new Hasbro internal code word has emerged, and it appears to be a new code for an already existing code word. Stop saying code word. Kepler has been spotted by Toy News International, and we have found out that it's actually a new code for Buster, which has been known about for a while now. Many people have speculated that this could be the rumoured classified barbecue figure, and also, and I'm not just saying this to stoke an already out of control forest fire, but it's likely going to be, yes, a Voldemort exclusive, rumoured for release in July. There's even a DCPI number attached to the listing, which I'm not going to read out. You can see it on the screen, for goodness sake. Nothing confirmed as yet, of course, but stay tuned for more on this and expect some clarification, if not a reveal, during Yojo June. Lads, excited for the possibility of a classified barbecue? ? Sorry, it didn't sound enough of a question, so I thought I'd add a question mark on the end of it. Justin, are you excited for this?
I am, yeah. I mean, barbecue wouldn't be at the top of the list of figures I need to see in the classified line. I mean, he's certainly a pretty core character from '85.
Would you have said that about Airtight in the 30th anniversary line, though? Because
probably said the same thing, yeah. And that was one of the best 30th anniversary figures. So
just saying.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Well, in fairness, when the 30th anniversary line came out, there'd been a lot of years of the 25th anniversary stuff, and they'd covered a lot of those early figures already. So, Airtight might have been due for his slot. Where barbecue, maybe not, but but still, I'm interested to see what they do. Classified has not failed me yet as far as design goes, as far as I'm concerned. I've been trying, ever since this news was kind of revealed, I've been kind of work out in my head, like what sort of updates they would do to barbecue to make him look a little bit more modern and different. His classic design has some great design elements. I'm not sure he is one of those characters that they need to faithfully reproduce like he looked back in 1985. I'm thinking they could take some liberties with that and still do some pretty cool things. So I'm excited to see sort of what they come up with. If you'd asked me to list my top 25 figures I wanted in classified, he probably wouldn't have appeared on that list. But I think he's a cool character, and I'll be interested to see what they do.
You see, for me, barbecue was really big in the Action Force comics as well, and just Action Force International Heroes. He was like a pretty big character in general, and obviously he was in a lot of the VHS tapes as well that came out. So yeah, in terms for me, I would definitely probably have him in a minimum top 15 at least. Okay. But I know what you're saying, and I know we're all going to have those. I know we're going to have different lists. Pat, is barbecue someone that you're excited to see in this line?
Someone I'm glad to see in the line. I didn't really think that he would be on the short list at all. I kind of think that whenever I'm looking at them bringing back G.I. Joe in whatever capacity, you tend to think of, your A-listers are going to appear right away.
Downtown, Lightfoot, Ice Cream Soldier.
Right, of course. And then your B-list characters, you kind of expect to just be right there, right after them.
Yeah, Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow,
and I wouldn't. Yeah, right. I wouldn't even consider barbecue for me. I mean, top 15 though. I would say that he's somewhere in the top 100 somewhere.
You see, what I get out of it though, I'm looking at it from a design perspective, I think, and I know you guys would do this as well, but I think I would much prefer to see, and I'm not saying Grunt is in your top 10 at all, but I would much prefer to see someone like Barbecue being done in a 6-inch line, because imagine the
Add some color
ridiculous
and
detail and color and like for me, I look at it and think the accessories are going to be the shiznits.
Well, I just want to know if he comes with like a bottle he can open the cap of with his teeth, like his file card says, or quarters that he can pick up with his ears, or
doesn't
whatever.
use his teeth, Justin. He opens
what the file card says.
He opens it a different way.
I just think that
off screen.
Yeah.
I think that there are those characters that I didn't necessarily think were going to sell at 6 inches.
Of course.
Seeing the actual reaction to the classified series.
Yeah.
Hasbro underestimated the popularity of it. I think I underestimated the popularity of it. I can remember having a discussion, I think maybe it was with one of you, where I was saying, I don't think that we'll ever see a Psych Out or a Sci-Fi if they ever did G.I. Joe 6-inch.
Mm-hmm.
Just do a few waves and that would be that. And I think that seeing characters like, Barbecue in the line kind of shows that there's going to be a lot more longevity to this.
Okay, then having said that then, Justin, I want to know, other than Hit and Run, I know it's Hit and Run at the top, and also there was a really cool custom Hit and Run 6-inch classified figure that was doing the rounds, wasn't it?
Yep.
Apologies for not remembering who it was, but give me like a couple of characters then, and you can use Hit and Run, of course you can, in your top, let's say, 5 that you want to see in the classified line.
Oh man, you're putting me on the spot.
I know, because I'm a hole.
It's so glad to put you on the spot first.
Yeah, now Pat's got time to think about it, and I've got
now that Pat said that, I want Pat's first. I'm just kidding.
I mean, for me, there's a couple different elements. I mean, there's character and then there's design. I mean, somebody like the Crimson Guards, I would love to see them, how they kind of portray the Crimson Guards in the classified line. I think a lot of people are looking for bats, and I think they could do some really cool bats in the 6-inch scale. I would love like a low light with a really awesome modular sniper rifle in a 6-inch scale.
Yes.
I think that could be really, really cool. He's not a character I'm necessarily in love with. He's a cool character. But I think from a design perspective, they could do some really, really cool things with low light. I love, Falcon. Falcon's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
But again, he's a dude in a beret with camouflage. I don't know if he's all that exciting from a G.I. Joe classified aesthetic.
Sonic Fighters version maybe first with the pajamas.
Maybe.
For that.
Pajamas.
Digital camo pajamas, which I absolutely love. That's one of my all-time favorite figures in the Joe line. The modern Sonic Fighters club version is one of my favorite figures of all time. Isn't that weird? It's not the top, but if I was to do a random top 10, I think he'd be in there.
Between him and Psych Out and Lightfoot, you've got me a little. I'm a little uncomfortable.
I love making you uncomfortable. Pat, then. Go on, Pat. Give us a couple of... Just 2 in your top 5. Doesn't have to be in any particular order. 2 you want to see.
Psych Out. I'll throw him in there. I always actually have thought Psych Out was a really cool character that...
Yeah, in Tiger Force as well, you mean.
Of and shouldn't be.
Yeah, you mean Tiger Force as well, right?
Of course.
Thank you.
Sure. I mean, but that is a good point. There would be Tiger Force and Night Force from just doing Psych Out to begin with. So get one out there earlier so that you can reuse it later. You don't want to pack all those right together, which is I think what we saw with the club, that we never ended up getting all of the sneak peeks that I wanted because they didn't plan their first sneak peek very early on at all.
Yeah.
And other sneak peeks I wanted and it didn't all happen. Anyway, yeah, I would say Psych Out for one. The other one I'm going to throw out there, Sergeant Savage. I enjoy the Sergeant Savage stuff, and that would be a little out of left field, but also a little bit like Justin said for Falcon, maybe a little too just military looking. But I think it would be cool. I
like that as an
if we're
option.
sticking on that bandwagon, throw Lieutenant Stone in there too from Sigma 6. I think he'd be a classic.
Yeah. And you'd ruin it.
Yeah, honestly, the G.I. Joe Extreme stuff in a G.I. Joe classified style would be very cool.
Totally agree. Was it
Wreckage?
Yes.
G.I. Joe Extreme is definitely one of the guys for sure.
That would be dope. I'd love to see Iron Claw done. I think that would be sensational. Yeah. But if I'm picking my 2, I'm not going to say the obvious things, the jokey ones I always say, but Lightfoot is going to be one. Sorry, I just knew everyone knew that was what I was going to say. But seriously, if they did a Lightfoot classified figure, I know we're talking probably 2067 when they do they're coming back to it for the 96th anniversary. I don't know. My math is off there. But if we got a light, imagine the friggin' accessories. It would be unreal, and they could do some crazy stuff with that. And also we mentioned him earlier, but airtight. If they're doing barbecue, I'd love to see airtight done, because again, accessories would be through the roof. And I like those characters that are a little bit different, a little bit quirky. Good opportunity to get a bit of color in there as well, because as much as I love the classified line, they've been quite subdued when it comes to the color palette. And I think a lot of that has stemmed from that first release, hasn't it? You know, the kind of reaction to, you know, I'm not saying everything should be gold, but like I kind of feel like maybe the decos have been like drawn back a little bit, especially when you look at Major Blood, which is just black and brown now, which again, dope, looks just like his original, but you know, that's what I'm getting at. But anyway, that interesting stuff. And like I said before, we didn't really talk about barbecue as much, but the news is that Kepler is another code word that's popped up, and it's just another code word that's being utilized instead of Buster, which we knew about a while back as well. And we'd had kind of connected that was possibly going to be barbecue at some point as well. So all a bit speculative, nothing confirmed exactly, but we do have a little bit of a morsel of information thanks to Toy News International on that one. I won't be doing an extra news burst about it because we've done it in this, and I really can't be bothered to keep doing more work. It just kills me, man. But anyway, that's it for the news, guys. That's all we have. All we have. It's like nearly an hour. But anyway, let's get into shout outs and let's finish this show off. Okay, unfortunately we lost Justin. We went on too long with the classified talk and he got pulled away, unfortunately, for work. So it's just Pat and I for the shout outs. But we can do it, Pat. We've done it before. We're strong.
Yeah, this week my shout-out is to Justin, just Justin, nobody else. I don't have any other reason I can think of to give anyone else a shout-out.
Unbelievable.
Shout-out to Justin because he had to go.
Unbelievable. I gave you the opportunity and you just ruined it.
And shout-out to you, of course.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Philip. I really
Well,
thought
I
you were
will in
gonna
a second. That's what I was actually flip-flopping. Which order do I do these in? But yes, shout out to you, of course. Now that Justin's gone, I will mention that not only did you send me the Firefly, but you sent me the Viper as well.
I did, yeah. I did. Yeah. So remember that. Remember that, fans.
I do remember that.
I do nice things every now and again. I don't just do everything for myself, which is not, mainly myself, but occasionally. But to be honest, Pat, you've done amazing things for myself as well. So I'm not even going to, this is what friends do. When they find, action figures for each other, they help them out. And you've done that with multiple. You sent me all that stuff the other, hang on, I've still got some stuff here. Look, remember when you sent me these?
Oh yeah, I did. That's right. That's about equivalent to a classified figure there, right?
Dollar figures,
$6 at Dollar Tree versus a Cobra Viper. I mean, it's the same thing, right?
I got them from the UK as well. So shipping was no, I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding. But anyway, enough of that. Thank the real people involved here,
and shout out to Philip for real, because he and I also going to have a shameless plug here. Yep. He and I are going to be doing a live version of Articulated Points, which would be tomorrow for whenever this will be on, I suppose.
Yeah. We've been sharing that on the page as well, so I'll be looking forward to that. What are you guys using in terms of streaming?
I think we're going to go with StreamYard.
Nice.
So I'm a little bit nervous, but we wanted to talk about. For a while now, I've kind of wanted to address some of the comments because we're doing a lot of segments, which is what we're doing on Articulated Points. It has a lot of information in it. And there's actually been a lot of comments that have informed us of things after the fact. And I didn't want to not shine a light on those because there was some really interesting stuff. But it's also a little bit like, where do you fit that in? Do you kind of just drop one bit of information here and there? And then they kind of built up to the point where I thought, you know what, we could just address them all, but is that going to make sense to do as an episode that's pre-recorded and put it out there?
Yeah.
And Philip and I were discussing it, and it just kind of made more sense to allow that to have live feedback happening at the same time.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. And I'll be looking forward to that. What time is it kicking off?
I believe it's going to be 3 p.m. Eastern or noon Pacific.
Fantastic. I will be checking that bad boy out. And I'll probably type in some horrible comment as well during the...
Sounds good. That's what I honestly imagine us logging on and it just being me and Philip and no commenters, and hey, it'll be posted later anyway, or it'll get posted to YouTube as soon as we're done. But it'll be a method that'll be new for us to test out. Who knows? I have no idea how many people are going to actually join in, whether or not that's going to be a time that's conducive to people joining in. I have no idea.
Well, if you're listening to this now, check it out on Sunday. If you don't follow Articulated Points, make sure you do. Pat and Phil do an amazing job. And I
appreciate it as always.
I love the show. It's always full of great information and tons of cool stuff. So yeah, brilliant, man. Is that all of your shout-outs?
That is all of my shout-outs, yes. Thank you.
I've actually got quite a lot this week. As always, big shout-out to all the family and to my wonderful wife, Kate. Love you loads. We had a birthday party for Max on the weekend, and it was a Jurassic Park-related party. It was obviously just, the two of us and the dogs. And then obviously we Zoomed with our families and stuff and had like a little kind of, little silly get-together where we wore silly masks like this.
Is that why Phoebe was dressed up as a unicorn? Is she not aware that there were not unicorns in Jurassic Park?
No. We had dressed her up as a stegosaurus. No, Triceratops. We dressed Phoebe up as on the day. The unicorn one is a completely separate thing, which I'll have to shout her out for as well, because Boss Fight Studio posted that, didn't they? We took a picture of her playing with Frankie because she did like it's like a 15-second cosplay of a unicorn, which worked perfectly. But yeah, we had this little party for Max, and I wore this... I wore this mask for it, which is great. But on top of that, Kate made a pizza nublar, which was a pizza in the form of Isla Nublar. And oh my goodness, one, it was really tasty, but freaking hell, it looked incredible. It kind of looked a bit like Cobra Island, honestly. I could have put some I could have put those Jada Toys G.I. Joe figures on there and the little mini vehicles, and it would have looked just as good. But yeah, I put a little video together of Kate making it. It's unbelievable, and it tasted great. And she even made a little volcano that would have erupted. It was just genius. So big shout out to Kate and that skills that she did there. To Brian Sauer, who continues to create some amazing graphics for us, of course, always going to be shouting him out on the show. And also, and I probably should mention that, I'm not sure if I probably did last week, but Brian did some amazing graphics and animation for the Redacted series. So we spoke to Hasbro. I think I did talk about this last week. We obviously did an interview with Hasbro. And we're going to be doing another one soon with Paul Aller. So we'll be doing another Redacted interview with Paul Aller of G.I. Joe IDW Comics fame. Looking forward to chatting about that series and the trade paperback that's coming out, and Castlefall and all that jazz. So that should be a fun interview as well. Paul's a great guy. And yeah, and then for some reason I just had the best mail day ever, and I mean like the post, not as in like the gender, but we had. So I get these messages. We have like this really cool Amazon locker system here in this apartment complex. And what happens is if you get something delivered, you get an email. So I get like 3 emails and 3 text messages, like bang, 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 bang. And I'm like, oh my goodness, loads of stuff's come in. Go out there to grab it all. I walk back to the apartment, like just full of stuff. And it was, first up, big shout out to Gavin Chillstone for sending me this beautiful print of Classified Snake Eyes by Mike Collins, the artist who created the original Action Force Holiday special cover that the print homages. He even got Mike to sign it. So thank you, Gav. Absolutely like the kindest gift, and I bloody love it. It will be framed and it will be hung in our apartment ASAP. It's just amazing. So it's that holiday special cover, but with Classified Snake Eyes design. It's so good. So thank you, Gav. That was a real, I remember him posting it ages ago, and he posted it in it wasn't the clearest of images, but I could see what it was, and I thought that looks cool. And he had his hand over the bottom corner of it, And that's because he got it signed with my name on it. So it was like, you cheeky git. So yeah, thank you, Gav. Absolutely lovely thing to get me. And big shout out. You're an absolute star. Also, to Matt Paul, AKA KRAKEN Creations. He's all over the internet, Instagram, Twitter. You can find him at the KRAKEN Wakes. And he's just absolutely like a huge Action Force collector, but not just a collector. He does, he kind of 3D prints Action Force and G.I. Joe pieces that work perfectly with all of your vintage stuff. He does amazing customs. Guy's great. So he sent me this superb Action Force collector card sticker book from way back in the day. Has all the stickers in there and the original kid's name and info who originally owned the book. He was so careful with this because it is in incredible condition. And then Matt also threw in a number of really cool 3D printed pieces, which I'll have to do things with now. I'm looking at you, Haggis. Yeah, he sent me a head sculpt from Haggis, which I'll have to do a custom of now. Also, as soon as Kate saw that Ironblood helmet, it was swiped, never to be seen again, by me at least. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate this wonderful piece of Action Force history that I had as a kid, but actually never completed, believe it or not. So it's really nice to actually have that, even if there's another kid's name on it. But I think it's Christopher Williams, which is half of my name anyway. I'll just double check that, which is hilarious to me. Yeah, Christopher Williams, and my name is Christopher William David McLeod, so it might as well be mine. He's got his address in there from when he was 8.
Which book is that?
Oh, this is the official collector card album.
Okay.
The personnel file. And what you can do is, obviously, you've got the front cover is got that hole in it, and you can stick a picture of yourself in, which he must have done because there's residue, there's glue residue on there, but no rips, thankfully. So he definitely had an image of himself on there, which is removed. But it's gorgeous. The artwork's amazing. It's done by all of the comic artists of the time. I'm sure Mike Collins is in here. I'm sure Kev Hopgood is in here. It's just great. So, and it's got all these, you used to get these collector cards, which were stickers that you would then affix into the book, and it's just great. And there are these really cool pages. This is one of my faves. The Beachhead Guide gives tips on survival, which is great. It's just really, really cool. So yeah, and also this is beautiful as well. I really love this page, which has the lineup of figures at that period of time as well. Just absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, love it. Love this bloody thing. Again, had it as a kid, but never completed it. So I don't even think I have the original. I don't know why, because I kept everything as a kid. I don't know what happened to that bad boy. But yeah, anyway, I've got it back now, even though it's a different kid's name. So thank you, Matt. Oh yeah, the other bloody huge thing I got in was from Nick Wells at In Demand Toys. So In Demand Toys don't actually ship to the US, but Nick has been hooking me up basically when he can. And he sent me the Retro Fang, Retro Duke, which I don't know even to this point why I even bothered asking him for, but I did. Classified Infantry and another classified Cobra Island Cobra Trooper. Much appreciated, my man, and thank you for coming up with the goods yet again after failing dramatically obtaining in the actual United States. So massive thank you to Nick on that one. But yeah, the fact that Nick can get a hold of the infantry and the Cobra Island Trooper is just mind-blowing to me. Officially as well. We're not talking off the back of a truck here. We're talking an official seller of Hasbro stock. So they're doing the Lord's work in friggin' the UK, I'm telling you now. And the fact that they've got Hasbro Pulse there now, I'm considering moving again. I'm considering just flying back and just staying there.
And then you can be my hookup to send all this stuff to me every single time now.
Exactly. Rather than the middleman, I can just be the man that sends it to you.
That's right.
And anyway, I mean, that's that's all of the friends and all that jazz. Oh no, one more. Good job I didn't miss this one out because you'd have killed me for this. I got an amazing phone call the other day, and again, we spoke until our batteries ran out on our phones. We hadn't spoken to each other for ages. Grey Childs, massive shout out to you, my man. AKA Bradley Cooper in A Star Is Born. If you've ever seen that movie, Gray's rocking that look at the moment. But honestly, Gray's like, if you don't know him in the G.I. Joe community, you know, I feel sorry for you because the guy's amazing. And we had a long chat about, you know, everything, life, and he told me some really cool stories. And, you know, again, I filled him in on what had been going on this end. And it's just really nice to speak to people that you haven't spoken to. You know, we usually see Gray at like Joe Cons and Joe Fests and whatever they may be. And so, you know, not having that is a bit of a bummer. And so it's nice to kind of speak to people like that every now and again.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back to all of that stuff being in full swing personally.
Yeah, it's been difficult. It's been a rough year and a bit. Hopefully it won't continue.
It's been more than a year.
Yeah, What month did it kick off? It was like February, March time, wasn't it, that it was really bad?
Yeah, February, March, yeah.
So, yeah, a couple of months over a year.
Yep, exactly.
It feels longer. I feel it feels like the classified line has been out longer than it has, and it should have been, because there's about 500 figures available now. And I feel like this has been going on way longer than a year and a bit.
I have real trouble with passage of time and me knowing when things happen. I can't, like, honestly, things that happened 2 years ago feel the same as things that happened 10 years ago. So
yeah,
I'm not necessarily the person to ask about how long it feels, but it definitely feels like it's been a lot longer than a year. Everything is so different, and I just can't wait for everything to be back to some sense of normal.
Oh, the same. Anyway, that almost brings us to an end of the shout-outs. I will say a couple of final things. Obviously, as we say every week, and we've said for the last few weeks, we stand with the Asian and Pacific Islander communities in saying Stop Asian Hate, and will continue to do so. Follow the links in the description if you want more information or just want to do more to help. And I won't stop saying it until, I won't stop saying it. And also to our patrons, listeners, and viewers, massive shout out to you guys for kind of keeping us going. All the lovely things you guys have been saying about us recently, really, really appreciate it. And again, just thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, bottom of our hearts, as I'll speak on Pat's behalf. Anything else? Yeah, there you go.
Same here. I appreciate all the support from everyone, yourself and anybody online who's been commenting and sharing. I really appreciate the comments. I do.
Absolutely. Pat, thank you, mate, for joining me for another episode of the Full Force Weekly. A bit of a crazy one.
Yeah, thanks for having me back on again. It's fun.
Always, man, always. Plus, you and Justin are the only ones that ever respond to me about it, so that's probably why you're the only... I'm kidding. The others respond to me, they just tell me no. That brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you for watching the Full Force Weekly. Massive thank you to my awesome co-hosts, Patrick, Notpicard Stewart, and Justin Generals Joes Bell. See you next time. And as always, after 3, 1, 2, 3, Full Force! Perfect. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on Twitter @The Full Force, liking the Facebook page facebook.com/The Full Force, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on either of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.